Hey, everybody. This is the Take Me on Tour podcast. It's the week of February 5th. Thank you for joining us again. Not sure when this will come out. We're still trying to figure out somewhat of a schedule, but we did film one episode already. So if you haven't, please go check that out. I'm here with my co-host, Logan Crossland, who's a booking agent in the industry and the host of the Logan Show. Logan, what's up, Buster?
Yeah. What's up, dude? Glad we're back here for episode 2. I'm kind of surprised. I never thought we'd get to episode 1, let alone episode 2.
Yeah, and episode 2 is coming pretty quickly after episode 1, but we had some hiccups and had to get everything on all the platforms and on YouTube and all that. So I'm not sure if this will be a weekly thing, a monthly thing, bi-monthly, all that stuff. But we are trying to get them out as much as we can while I'm home. But yeah, like I said,
Probably, probably never again now that Steven realizes how much editing goes into all this.
Right, yeah, this is a lot of work. For those of you that watched on YouTube, thank you for watching that. And it was 2 hours long, which we did not plan on it being 2 hours. But when me and Logan get talking, there's just always something to say. So if you haven't seen that episode, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes long. But I did add a lot of B-roll in there to help, keep the video interesting. So there's a lot of extra footage in there. We talk about festivals, how Logan and I first met, him being a promoter, now a booking agent, and basically our touring careers for like the last 9 years, almost 10 at this point.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Right. If you're just listening to the audio version of this, you can also find the video versions, as I said, on YouTube as well as Spotify, and this should also be on all, if not most, streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music. And the video versions are definitely becoming more of a priority. Spotify, you can open up Spotify and play the video version right there. So if you are listening to the audio only and want to see some B-roll or just see what we look like and our ugly mugs, yeah, you can do that on YouTube and or Spotify or anywhere that has the video versions. You can find all the links to that on takemeontour.com or the link to in the bio and all the social platforms. But what you were hearing there at the beginning was Kerry King's new band. He just announced the lineup, I think it was on Friday, maybe a few days ago. And you were listening to the song Idle Hands. He announced the full lineup, which consists of Death Angel vocalist Mark Osegueda, Phil Demmel of Violence and Ex-Machine Head on guitar, ex-Slayer drummer Paul Bostaff, and Hellyeah bassist Kyle Sanders. So, Logan, what do you think of that lineup?
Well, Kyle Sanders was definitely coming from left field when not too many people think of Hellyeah and Slayer in the same boat. But I think it's a great lineup in one way. I thought the song was great. It really sounds like Slayer to me. I love Death Angel, as you know. I guess it's a little disappointing to me in the sense that, like I said, I think the lineup's great, but it's it's a supergroup. And, I understand that Phil Demmel quit Violence to focus on this and all that. But generally speaking, and this is coming from both a fan and the agent angle, supergroups just don't last. In theory, on paper, they sound great. They look great. But they're, for the most part, just always super short-lived. And, obviously this one has a little bit more traction and some more legs, given that it's Kerry King. Obviously, they just announced that tour today, which I'm sure we'll get into. But, yeah, it just feels like, I don't know, when I saw that lineup, it just felt like maybe a bit like a part-time band, so to speak. But I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, Death Angel is really not the most active band on the face of the earth anyways. And obviously Hellyeah is not really a thing. So, hoping for the best. But I did think the song was great. And I think Mark's a phenomenal vocalist. And Death Angel is hands down one of my favorite thrash bands. So I think it's cool.
I had the same thought that you did when it came to Kyle Sanders. I don't know. I do know. So I did Mayhem Fest 2015, and both Hellyeah and Slayer were on that. It was the last Mayhem Fest. So maybe they know themselves from there. I don't know. But I didn't know this was going to be a supergroup. And as you mentioned, that's what it is. And, a supergroup, for anybody that's not familiar with the term, is just when you get, I guess, notable band members from other bands and make one big band versus getting, just band members that are more unknown. But Death Angel vocalist Mark Osegueda, that guy's just awesome, man. He's great in Death Angel. I toured with Death Angel in 2019, and he's hilarious and just a great guy. I think he fits the part really well. But somebody did mention that he sounds like another version of Tom Araya, which, by the way, I don't consider myself a Slayer fan. I do respect what they've done in being part of the Big Four and their legacy and all that. I don't necessarily hate on them. I just not really a fan. But yeah, I kind of heard that in Mark's voice. I don't know if it was just because somebody had already said it, so I was thinking it. But he did sound a little bit like Tom Araya as far as like the screams and stuff. But yeah, that's a great vocalist. I think Phil Demmel's just a badass, man. I don't know, Phil Demmel, like, I don't know, when he first came in Machine Head years ago, he had short hair, and I just wasn't so sure about him. And not that hair makes or breaks you in the band or anything, but I don't know. I just saw him and I was like, man, is this really the guy? Because I think he replaced Logan Mader at the time. This was years and years ago, like 2003 probably. But the dude just he's filled in for so many bands. He's filled in for Lamb of God. Maybe he's even filled in for Slayer. I can't remember, but he seems to get the call a lot whenever something's going on, and he's just a killer guitar player. And he's married to Martyr from Bleeding Through, and I just think they're an awesome couple, as lame as that sounds. But yeah, Phil Demmel on guitar, Slayer drummer, ex-Slayer drummer Paul Bostaff, no surprise. The Hellyeah bassist is the biggest surprise, I guess. But yeah, he's also brothers to Troy Sanders, who's in Mastodon. But I agree, that was definitely the biggest surprise to me. But speaking of Supergroup, do you remember the TV show Supergroup?
Was that the one was Sebastian Bach in that show?
Yeah, for some reason that's all I remember. Also, is that Sebastian Bach was in there.
It was him, and wasn't Ted Nugent on there too, I think.
He was, and actually I just YouTubed a little bit of it before this because I wasn't sure if I was remembering it right. I guess it was on VH1, but yeah, what came up real quick was Sebastian Bach and Ted Nugent, but I just remember like I just remember Sebastian Bach. I don't remember some part of the show, and he's just like Supergroup, and I'm just like, this is terrible, man. But we were just living in different times, I guess, with the shows. I mean, I would watch that now, honestly, if it were still on. I mean, I guess I didn't appreciate shows like that at the time. It was reality TV more or less, and it sounded lame. But I mean, look at the reality TV that's on now. I mean, I would definitely take Supergroup and something like Battle for Ozfest now over what we have.
Yeah, I don't think they would make shows like that today. And real quick, before we get too far, jumping back to Logan Mader real quick, is that band Once Human still a thing?
That I'm not sure about. So speaking of Logan Mader, I went to go see Cradle of Filth with Devil Driver, Il Nino, and I can't remember the two opening bands, but I'm there at the merch stand and I see Logan Mader walking around, and it's like, that's not a guy that's he's easily recognizable. I'm in the merch area, and this guy with super ripped guy with dreads is walking around. It's like you can't miss him. But I was like, what's he doing here? I know he's not from where I'm from, so I'm guessing he's here to check out the show. It turns out he was in the opening band, and I was surprised. I honestly didn't think we were going to talk about this, or I would have looked up the name of the band. But yeah, I guess he's got another band going now, and I don't know if Once Human's a thing. I haven't heard of them in quite a few years, but that was the last I saw of Logan. He was opening for Cradle of Filth and Devil Driver.
I remember you saying that, and for anyone that doesn't know, the singer of Once Human, I can't remember her name, but that's like his girlfriend or wife or whatever. And I remember hearing before Fear Factory announced their new singer that there for a second, I think she was rumored to be the new Fear Factory vocalist.
That's correct. I think her name's, if I'm not mistaken, Lauren Hart, and if I got that wrong, right. I mean, I can't remember, but I think that's what her name is. But yeah, she was rumored to be the new Fear Factory vocalist. I think they even considered like actually having her, but for some reason Dino just decided against it for whatever reason, and the guy that they have now, Milo Silvestro. That guy is just doing an amazing job. I saw them sometime last year, and the guy just, people say he looks kind of like an imitation of Burton. I mean, he does have a little bit of the same look, but I mean, I don't know if that's on purpose. I never really saw the guy before, but I don't care, man. That guy just, whatever he wants to do. If he wants to dress like Burton, I don't care, man, because he's doing a killer job up there.
You know, I did a Fear Factory video on my channel a while back, and you know, the comments are really mixed on. You know, some people like Milo, some people can't stand him. They want Burton back. But everything I've seen, I mean, it sounds like he's doing great.
Yeah, and one thing I will say about this Supergroup, you know, Kerry King's group, is I will say, if you were, so I didn't know what to expect as far as the members that he was bringing in. I assumed, you know, that it was just going to be guys he knew, maybe a little, you know, underdog guys. But I guess I kind of should have known it's Kerry King. He's going to want to, you know, make a statement, I guess you could say. But I do think if you're going to put people like Phil Demmel, Mark Osegueda in there, those people with that kind of history with, you know, in thrash metal and all that, I do think they should have used an actual band name and not Kerry King. I just don't, not that it's disrespectful or anything, I just think it would be so much cooler to have it under a band name rather than Kerry King. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, especially because, I mean, you know, even with Mark and all that, I mean, Kerry King is still certainly the big name in the band. But, yeah, no, I would agree. And I guess I was, like, same assumption as you, is, you know, I figured it was going to be some unknown guys, or maybe just, you know, some guys maybe you'd heard their name before, but, you know, like a Logan Mader or something like that, you know. But, yeah, the other thing, too, is, like, you know, they're all older. And Mark can still sing, of course, but, you know, I do think the age of the guys in the band, I mean, that, especially Mark, I mean, that does impact how long they can go. I mean, it's, you know, I would imagine Mark's got to be in his mid to late 50s at this point. And, you know, it's going to be hard to do vocals like that in 10 years, even 5 years, you know what I mean? And Death Angel, I mean, they, you know, they tour every once in a while, but I would expect that band to only have a handful of tours left in them as well.
I would actually say in the recent years they've been a lot busier than I remember. So they did the Dark Roots of, not the Dark Roots of Thrash one. That's the first tour I ever did. The Bass Strikes Back, I think is what it was called, with Testament and Exodus.
Yeah.
So they did a couple of legs of that. They did that in Europe. Actually, that was longer ago than I thought. That was like in 2019, 2020. Damn, time really does fly. But yeah, that was the end of, I remember, because they got COVID in Europe, actually. So they were some of the first to get COVID. So a bunch of people that were in Europe got sick, and then they had to cancel tours, or I think they might have finished them, but either way, a bunch of people got sick. That's when COVID happened. But yeah, I guess maybe you know, that was the last time they were super busy. But I know they did have a couple of tours last year. I know they have stuff coming up this year. But either way, you're right about Mark. He's in his 50s. What's funny, and another you know, weird thing to say, is that I do think he looks better now than he did, you know, 15, 20 years ago. I saw him open up for Soilwork, and he had dreads, and I don't know, I just wasn't feeling the guy, and I just was like, dude, I'm here for Soilwork. Who the hell is this Death Angel band? This was well before I mean, I obviously knew the name, but hadn't worked with them. I hadn't even started touring yet. This was a long time ago, like 2010. And he just came across like kind of cocky, which I don't know, rightfully so. I mean, Death Angel's, like you said, a killer thrash band. I know you really like him a lot, but yeah, he had dreads, and I don't know. I'm surprised he had dreads, but he had them for years. You know, like 20 years, he said, or maybe over 20 years. But I don't know. I just think he looks better and looks more thrash with his current look. But you know, his age, but also, as you said, I hadn't thought about that. That's not even the first thing I thought about whenever the Supergroup got announced. I was just like, well, that's a killer lineup. I didn't think about the fact that scheduling has to line up. So you're right. Hellyeah is not that busy, but something could come up
anymore, are they?
I thought they were, because Roy Mayorga is playing drums for them. Don't you remember they announced Roy Mayorga a few years ago?
Yeah, but I thought that was just like the not really a farewell Vinny tour or whatever. Like, just let's just do this one last tour. I guess, was that tour already on the books when Vinny died? I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, that was Jesus, what, 5-6 years ago now or something. It's been a long time since they've been out, and now with
Yeah, I mean,
Mudvayne back, who knows what they're going to be doing. You know what I mean? So I don't know. To me, I mean, I guess I just felt like that band is probably done.
yeah, I mean, I think I might have checked their Wikipedia not too long ago, and they might say that they're on hiatus. So maybe they are done. But I thought Roy was announced as like the new drummer, and they were going to move forward. But at the same time, I knew that as soon as I knew as soon as Vinny passed away that Mudvayne was coming back. I just knew it, whether it was going to take a year or 3 or 4 years, and that's exactly what happened. And Mudvayne's been going hard, ever since that. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they are done, but yeah, scheduling has to line up. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with them.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, with Phil Demmel leaving Violence now, I think I guess the only real scheduling conflict is Death Angel, and like we said, I mean, they're out there touring, but they're not one of those bands that's constantly at it, nonstop. So who knows? Maybe it all works out. I think the tour they just announced today with Lamb of God and Mastodon. I mean, that's a big first tour. Obviously, it's Kerry King. I mean, I don't think anybody expected him to announce some headline tour doing clubs. So it's a great tour, but I guess, we'll see what happens. I thought the song was great. I guess we'll see how the record is. The artwork was a little generic, I thought. But
Generic?
I think, I mean, it's standard fucking whatever.
Wait. What artwork are you talking about?
The single or the album.
Oh, the single. Okay. I got you. No, that's yeah, but it's in Slayer. It's Slayer-esque, I mean, that's
Sure.
Right. I thought you were talking about the artwork about the ad mat, which I was actually going to talk about as well. But as you see here, this is the tour that got announced today. Woke up and that's one of the first things I saw. Lamb of God and Mastodon with Kerry King opening. But this is by far some of the best artwork I've ever seen. This is
killer.
Yeah, this is this is the celebrating 20 years of Ashes of the Wake, and how do you say that? Leviathan. People are gonna talk so much shit. Leviathan. Yeah, I'm not really much of a Mastodon fan, but yeah, you guys can go ahead and roast me. Leave a comment and roast me if you'd like. Yeah, but I mean, the top half here is the art inspired by the artwork of Ashes of the Wake. And then obviously the bottom is for Mastodon, but damn, this is like such cool artwork, man. I would imagine they're going to make a couple of, co-headliner shirts. I mean, this is just crazy artwork. But yeah, Kerry King opening this show. Second show is Austin, Texas, so we're going to try to go to that. I don't know if you're going to try to see this. I don't know if there's any Ohio dates on here.
Yeah, there's a Cleveland show that I'm going to try to hit up. But, I mean, honestly, I really might leave. I'm really hoping that Lamb of God will close that show so that I can just watch Kerry King, maybe check out a little bit of Mastodon, and head out. But what I was going to point out about this, I do agree with you. This artwork is fantastic. But imagine how shitty Unearth feels that because they're only on like 3 shows, right? But their logo's not anywhere on here, and you got to look all the way in the bottom right corner to realize that they're on, because they're on. I think my show, the Cleveland show, is one of the few that they're on in place of Malevolence. So it's just it kind of cracks me up a little bit that you got to look all the way in the bottom corner to see Unearth on there.
That is very true, and I didn't really have a whole lot of time to study this thing, but yeah, I forgot that I had even read that, and that shouldn't be the way it is. I shouldn't be looking at this and forget that a band is on the ad mat. But yeah, I love Unearth. I cannot believe they're still going. Ken Susi left the band more or less a few years ago. I don't know what's going on with them. But yeah, it just says Kerry King and Unearth on a couple of shows, but I'm glad they're still around. I'm surprised they're still around, but that band just, doesn't really get the respect they deserve anymore. Maybe they did, 10 years ago, maybe more like 15 years ago. They were once at the top of, metalcore or whatever you want to call it. They were a big band. I actually saw them for the first time open up for In Flames, Soilwork, Chimera, and Unearth, and I was like, these obnoxious assholes are so annoying. I mean, like Ken just, how Ken Susi is. He is a little obnoxious, but that's kind of his thing. And there's a lot of history with Shattered Sun and Ken Susi. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but old Shattered Sun bass player, a little bit of a long story, but got Ken Susi's face tattooed on his ass. Does this recall?
Oh my God.
Do you recall hearing about this at any time? I mean, this is honestly probably way before it was way before we knew you, but I don't think it was relevant enough for them to bring it up when you worked with them.
No, I don't think so. I mean, those guys even stayed at my house, and yeah, no, I don't think that ever came up in conversation.
Yeah, to sum it up, they recorded an album with Ken Susi. He jokingly said, I don't care, I'll get your face tattooed on my ass right now. And he was like, are you serious? Because I can set it up. And it actually came out in the Unearth DVD that came out in around 2008. Yeah, it's at the end of the DVD. So if I can find a clip, I'll throw it in here as well for you guys to see.
Hey, what's up? This is Ken Susi from the band Unearth, and I'm here right now at Pino Brothers Inc. in Boston. Today, we have a super fan that comes all the way from Texas. Dude contacted me, and he's like, dude, I gotta get a tattoo of you on my ass.
I love Ken Susi so much, I'm gonna get his face tattooed on my left butt cheek.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
This is going to be a first for us. He's going to get a tattoo of Ken Susi's head on his ass.com.
I am so ready, dude.
Is that me? That is amazing.
That's what's going on my
Yeah, you know what? You did my nose
That's
well.
just the outline, man.
This is ridiculous. This is like my birthday. It's better than when people are going to come over your house and give you presents. This is stupid good. Get to work.
Hold on.
I got you, Steve. I got you. This is stupid. This down here. Look how authentic the shading is on the beard. Everything. It is so true to the real ass. This is the most thing that ever happened to me in my whole life. I think I'm ready to put the icing on the cake. For a young kid, you got a lot of stretch marks. Were you fat at one point? Like this? Oh, like
Yep,
this.
just like that, yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Is it good?
I just finished the tattoo on this fella's ass. I'm a changed man. It was a really good experience for the both of us. We really bonded.
That was awesome, an awesome experience. Then I got that first tattoo ever, got it, and feel really good about it.
I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is a weird thing for me, and it's quite the weird thing to think that my face on their ass is a tattoo for the rest of their life, and someday they're gonna die with my face on their ass. This is Ken from Unearth, and you're watching Boston.tv.
His name's Stephen King. Still friends with this guy today. Apparently, there's been stories that people have said that he was going into tattoo shops and were like, "Hey, can you do tattoo removal or cover-ups?" Because he was trying to get rid of it. I mean, it's a big tattoo. I mean, it takes up the entire right side of his ass. I mean, it's Ken Susi's face. But
This is
it came out on
This is before Shattered Sun started doing anything, though, right?
Yeah, correct. So when things started to kind of gain traction, that was 2013 and 14 is when we started to meet Chuck Billy and all that kind of stuff, and he was coming to the studio. This was probably 2008. So yeah, so quite some time before that. That's why I was like, yeah, you've probably never, really heard of that. But yeah, I do think Unearth deserves better. I mean, it would have been great if Unearth was just on the entire tour, but whatever. I mean, their time has somewhat passed. But yeah, I mean, I am planning to go, see that show. But for anyone who hasn't seen any photos, there's a couple of photos here that Warren Lee, the guy right there in the center with the hoodie and the backwards hat, he used to work for Slayer years. Well, I think he retired in 2019 is what he said, but for many years I think he worked with them. But from the left, that's Paul Bostaff, Kyle Sanders, Mark Osegueda, Warren Lee, Kerry King, of course, and Phil Demmel on the right. And I think I don't think he's touring with them. I was kind of confused from his post, but I don't think he's touring with them. I think he was called to help them record the album, you know, because some of these guys that are guitar techs, they get called to be a guitar tech for, you know, studio work. So I'm assuming that's what he did. But there's another one here with Kyle, Warren, Kerry, and Phil. But yeah, I don't think he's touring. Maybe he is going to be a tech on the new tours that they're doing. But this was recently released, I think, on Blabbermouth or somewhere out there. But I had seen him on his Facebook because I am Facebook friends with him, and I didn't think it was going to be huge news. But yeah, Blabbermouth actually reported on it. But that's pretty cool that he got these photos, and that's quite the experience.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Kerry King does a headline tour after this Lamb of God Mastodon thing, maybe in the fall. You know, doing I don't know, large clubs, small theater, you know, House of Blues type of stuff.
It's funny that you always say that because everybody just refers to theaters as House of Blues size stuff. I don't know why. Like every time someone's putting out a post, you know, looking for a merch person, looking for a guitar tech, House of Blues size venues, it's like, call them theaters. They're theaters.
I know, but I feel like, you know, if you say House of Blues, the average person knows what you're talking about. But if you say theater, I mean, I know what it is. You know what it is. But I feel like people could misconstrue that, you know what I mean? And think, you know, you're talking about some fucking massive fucking place, you know?
I mean, I think all theaters, I mean, I guess I've seen theaters across the country. They're all the same damn size and shape. So it's like, I mean, they all got a balcony. They all got a floor. They've all got the same thing, a lobby.
But there's, you know, 300 cap venues out there that have a balcony too that are technically theaters. You know what I mean? So if you just say House of Blues, people are like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're saying. You know what I mean?
That venue that you did the American Head Charge show is not a theater because it has a balcony.
I wouldn't, but like I said last week, it's more of like a catwalk than a balcony. That I would call a club. But you know, I went to a show over the weekend at a casino, and I guess technically it's a theater, but it feels, you know, there was no balcony. It was just a huge, large open room. So I do think people get misconstrued, and I think saying House of Blues is an easy way for people to understand.
I guess. I don't know why that's just always bothered me. And on the phone, you've said that I don't know how many times, and I just meant to call it out. But, you know, all of the Slayer, I mean, sorry, not Slayer, Kerry King news did lead to even more news. And it's like ever since then, there's just been nothing but I could log on my phone right now and just, you know, log into Facebook or whatever, and there would be something Kerry King related. You know, it definitely sparked a lot of things. And, I get why people do it, but I don't know if some of this is new quotes or old quotes or what. But, you know, it led to Phil Demmel leaving Violence, like you talked about earlier, which I guess is no surprise. Apparently, people have said that he's been he's kind of slowly been announcing that over the last year or so, but maybe he knew this was coming. I'm sure, you know, it's been in the works for a while. But on top of that, you know, pull quotes like Dave Lombardo is dead to me. He's had no contact with Tom Araya, not even a text or email. These are all stories. And then, you know, the Lamb of God and Mastodon tour on top of that, which obviously that makes sense. You know, all this stuff about his old bandmates, you know, Dave Lombardo is dead to me. I read the article a little bit, and I usually don't, but I don't know. A lot of stuff went on with that. I don't know if this was recently that he interviewed or a long time ago, but
yeah, it was. I think because yesterday on Monday is when they announced the lineup and all that, and I think Kerry did an exclusive Rolling Stone interview, and I believe that is where all of this is coming from.
Okay, yeah. So that, I mean, at least it's something he said recently, and they're not just pulling stuff from who knows how long ago. But yeah, I've Dave Lombardo. Like I said, I'm not really a Slayer fan, but he left Slayer quite some time ago. But to say he's dead to me, I mean, I read the article and he did have his reasons. Something about Kerry King saying that he was the only reason that he was still in the band, that Tom wanted to get rid of him a long time ago. And I guess Kerry King was fighting for him. I guess maybe they had lost Jeff Hanneman. You know, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or something. And if I'm getting this timeline all wrong, like I said, I don't really know Slayer's history. But he said it like it wasn't the right time to announce letting Dave Lombardo go. He was like, this is just the wrong time. You know, people are going to think the band's falling apart. And I guess Dave Lombardo kind of threw him under the bus at some point. I don't remember exactly how, but reading on Lombardo's part, he was saying, I guess, that he was like, you know, I'm part owner in this now. whatever you want to call it. And he was like, I need to see the finances. You know, you're not giving me enough numbers. We made millions of dollars last year, and we're leaving with like $100,000 to split, or $400,000 to split, or something like that. I think he said he made like $67,000 on one tour, which, you know, for a musician of their level, that's probably not a whole lot of money. But that is something having to do with finances, money, and I guess he didn't feel like he was, you know, able to see the proper documents in order to make sure he's making the proper money, and I guess that led to a bunch of bad blood.
Yeah, I mean, it's always money, man. The almighty dollar. I mean, it's torn apart so many bands. But the other thing too is you know, a guy like Lombardo. I mean, fuck, man. The guy's in like 1,000 bands. I remember seeing, I think it was Banger TV. It wasn't all that long ago. They had Dave Lombardo on there. And the interviewer, I don't think it was Sam Dunn, it was somebody else, but maybe it was Sam, and it don't matter. They started the interview, and he listed every single band that Lombardo has been a part of. And, I mean, he's just like, I just want to read something to you. And then he's just like, you know, Slayer, Misfits, Mr. Bungle, blah, 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 blah. I mean, just going on and on and on. And, you know, I mean, that guy clearly likes to... you know, he likes to diversify. And if I recall, I think he's even done some drumming on, I forget, was it Conan? It was one of the late night shows.
Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers, yeah. So, you know, I mean, maybe that played a role in it too. I mean, how, you know, when at that point Slayer was very, very active, you know, hard to do all these other things. It's funny though, I remember, I think it was right after Lombardo had left, they played at the Agora, which is a theater, a House of Blues type theater. But I was surprised. I was surprised then. I'm still surprised now that Slayer played a 2,000 cap room. I think it was Slayer, Exodus, and Suicidal Tendencies or something. And I think that was their last time here. And then their next tour, you know, they're here and doing Sheds, which is an amphitheater, and arenas and stuff. So there for a while. I mean, you know, that's a pretty big jump, you know.
Lombardo definitely likes to stay busy. I guess I did know he was in Mr. Bungle, but I do forget. But he did. What's funny is he joined Testament, and it was like this huge announcement. They were like, Testament brings in, you know, Dave Lombardo, and it was like this huge deal. They did like 2 tours with them, and then he was just like, I'm not sure if I can continue. And it's like, dude, this big announcement, and then I guess he kind of pissed off Testament and was like, yeah, I'm not sure I can commit. I have Mr. Bungle stuff coming up. I've got a busy tour schedule. It's like, what the hell did you join the damn band for then? You know, like, I don't know the size of Mr. Bungle, but I'm guessing they're bigger than Testament. But either way, I think Testament's killer. But they got, I think his name's Chris Dova now, and apparently, you know, on one of the tours, I know one of the LDs that works for Testament, and he was saying, you know, that like on the tour, like, I guess they had just finished a song, or maybe it was the first tour with Chris or whatever. But you know, Chuck Billy's like, Dave Lombardo who? Dave Lombardo who? Like, I guess Chris is just that good, you know. And it's just like,
Lombardo who? That's Chris Govis right there. Don't forget it.
they just wrote that guy off, man. It's like they probably really got irritated that they brought him back, and he had done promo photos and made this big announcement, and it was just, yeah, it was just funny that like he did not last whatsoever. But yeah, on top of that, the whole no contact with Tom Araya thing, you know, that's, you know, people in the comments were like, hey, this goes both ways, Kerry. Like, you can text Tom, Tom can text you, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it'd be cool. I mean, they finished in 2019, right before COVID. So, you know, that's a long time to not have any contact. We're talking about going on 5 years here, but yeah, that is weird to not have an email, a text, or anything, any kind of communication. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. Everyone says that like Tom was kind of just ready to retire and is probably just enjoying his time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's where a majority of the bitterness comes. I mean, I don't think Kerry wanted to stop. But yeah, I mean, it does work both ways. I haven't seen the comments. I saw that headline, but yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I guess at some point with any band, once you're done, you know, if you're not friends anymore and you're not really, you know, hanging out, what is there to talk about? You know, especially a band like Slayer. I mean, you figure everything's done through management. You know, any whatever re-releases or whatever it is that comes out from them. So I guess there's really no reason to talk if that's not their if they don't have a great relationship anymore. But it is a bummer. And I think it was like right before COVID. I think we've all seen the memes of you know, Slayer ends and then here comes the fucking pandemic.
Yeah, I know that was funny. That was good timing on their part. Can you imagine how much bullshit they avoided by, you know, with their timing? You know, they ended it at the perfect time. I mean, they had to deal with none of that. Imagine if, you know, they would have done it a year later. It would have completely halted all of their plans. They'd probably still be a band. Who knows? They probably would have changed their minds and still kept playing or something. But
well, and here's the thing is you know, like I said, that they before that the farewell tour, they were at the Agora, which is a 2,000 cap theater. And then on the final tour, they're doing, you know, these big 15, 20,000 seat venues. And granted, to be fair, I mean, those were borderline festivals, right? They were like 5 bands every leg. And it was, you know, Slayer, Lamb of God, Cannibal Corpse, fucking Primus, Ministry, Phil Anselmo doing the Pantera set. So, you know, they had these big lineups. Monomarth, who you used to work for, was on one of them. But, you know, I mean, they went out at the top, and, you know, they couldn't do those types of rooms on their own. You know, obviously a farewell tour certainly amps up the hype a little bit, but yeah, I mean, they definitely went out on top. And that is one band. I went to I saw all 3 different lineups on that tour. I love Slayer, but that is one band that, you know, I think I would hope that they hold true to their word and don't come back because the last shows were so good. And already, you know, like you said, 5 years has passed. And, you know, I think they went out the way that everybody should go out. I always go back to Motley Crue making the biggest deal ever out of we're ending and we're signing this contract in front of our own headstones or whatever. You know, it was this whole fucking thing. And then, you know, they announced the stadium tour and they make this video of the contract and they blow it up. And it's just like, oy vey, man. It's just pathetic. I mean, it's pathetic.
as we know, Kiss is known for doing the same thing, and I saw them in 2000 on their farewell tour in 2000, 24 years ago. Jesus Christ. I mean, that was, the year 2000, and they just finished in 2023, apparently. But I do think Slayer went out on top. I think they did it right, and I do think they should not come back. I mean, Jesus, I was going to mention earlier that Kerry King is 59 years old. I mean, that's insane. He doesn't look 59, but I guess it's easy to look young when you're bald, you know?
Sure, of course.
Whenever he was, I think, in his, I don't know, I guess it would have been the 90s, he used to have long hair, and he was balding, and Joster recently talked about he had one of the most notable skullets.
What's a skullet?
A skullet? Oh, dude, haven't you ever? I can't believe you never heard of the skullet. I figured you were going to know what that was. It's, remember the old Devin Townsend look where you basically...
Yes. Yeah.
So basically bald so much right here that you can see practically your skull. So it looks like, instead of a mullet, it looks like a skullet. But yeah, I mean, Kerry King was bald and...
That's so funny, dude. I've never heard that term before.
Yeah, so they Jost was talking about he would be, one of the most notable skullets, top 3 skullets, but I mean, I think everyone knows that. I think Kerry King looks way better bald anyway, so it just works out for some people. That's like his signature look, is being bald with that beard and all those tribal tattoos or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I do think they did go out right. I don't think they should come back, and I think he's moving on the right way. But speaking of comments earlier, that I was talking about, I don't know why I always read the comments, but speaking, the Grammys just happened, and Slipknot posted a couple of photos. I think it was, it was Sid, Clown, Mike Pfaff, and then V-Man, and man, the comments were just going off, man. It's like Slipknot has created so much I don't know what you'd call it, animosity or what, but I mean, people just are not in support of this band at all. You know, people were just roasting them in the comments constantly. You know, one of the comments that I wrote down here was that, you know, someone's looking at, they're commenting on the photo and they're like, did Sean lose weight or did they just fire that too?
Oh my God, that dude. You know, I've done a number of Slipknot videos on my channel, especially when all that stuff with Jay Weinberg was going down. And I mean, dude, you know, hundreds of comments, and nobody defends that band. You know, there's a lot of times I'll do a video on whatever, and you know, sometimes it's mixed, and it'll be like, dude, fuck you, whoever, you know, whatever band fucking rocks, blah blah blah, you're an idiot. And with Slipknot, I mean, dude, like everybody is like hating on them, you know, and it's, I mean, they have lost a lot of respect with a lot of their fan base.
Yeah, and the whole Jay Weinberg thing, it was kind of like the nail in the coffin for them, man. They had already pissed people off with losing Craig. This goes back even further. I think the last time things were okay was when, you know, V-Man and Jay got announced. People accepted it, loved the lineup, and then they fired Chris, you know, and I think that's where it all started. Chris got replaced, and then it was just like they all just started dropping after that, and I think it's just been like a nonstop downfall for them, and yeah, people cannot defend them any longer. Like the last thing they did was just, you know, it was Chris, then it was Craig, then it was, you know, Jay, and Jay came out of nowhere, and it just really pissed people off, and it sucks, you know. That's one of my all-time favorite bands, and it's like they're barely even being held up. But I did, you know, see my brother this weekend, and he did mention that, maybe it was him that mentioned, I think, or maybe it wasn't, but Corey Taylor and the whole announcement thing and how, you know, he's canceling the tour. Did it ever occur to you? It didn't occur to me that maybe any of that is due to the firing of Jay Weinberg, and maybe it's just so heavy of a thing and all the backlash, and maybe he didn't agree with it, maybe he didn't want to do it, and that's part of the reason that his health is suffering?
I guess that's an interesting theory. I don't know. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day in Slipknot, you know, I mean, who's calling the shots? It's him and Clown. So I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting theory. I don't know how much weight it really holds, but it's one way to look at it for sure. Just, you know, that band has really become, you know, I mean, just might as well just start saying Kiss Not, you know? I mean, that's what they are. I mean, dude, you hear so many older people talking about, you know, they loved Kiss and it was like the greatest fucking thing, and it was all good and it was the best thing ever. And now they fucking hate Kiss, you know, and fuck them, blah, 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 fuck Gene and Paul. And that is exactly what has happened to Slipknot. It's you know, oh man, like what you just said, I love Slipknot, one of my favorite bands, blah, blah, blah. But now everybody's like, fuck that band and fuck Corey and fuck Clown. And, you know, of course, look, we're not involved with Slipknot. Nobody knows the insides of Slipknot other than them. But, you know, the way that they operate, I mean, it's just, you know, it's not a great look, really.
Yeah, I agree, and it's just insane to think, you know, well, first of all, with 9 members, you've got a lot of members to hold on to. You know, I think Rammstein might be one of the only lineups in history that's never changed, but, you know, something like Slipknot, 9 people is hard to keep going for that many years, and they did it for a long time until people unfortunately passed away or got kicked out. But like I said, they got over that hump, but right when they were doing solid, had released an amazing album with We Are Not Your Kind, which people don't agree with me, but I'd put that album as their 3rd best after the self-titled in Iowa.
It's fantastic, dude. It really is an incredible record.
Yeah, I agree, and I was like, I did not like the album at first, but I was like, holy shit, this album is amazing, and finally came around. But yeah, it's like there's no coming back for that unless they announce something that's just gonna please you know, not everybody, because that's never possible, but, you know, something that's going to turn this whole thing around. But, you know, another comment that somebody left was, imagine winning a Grammy for the most fired members in a year. You know, people are just going off on them, and it's just like there's just no coming back, I guess, unless they gonna really have to turn it around. But they've got great management. They're at 5B, and they're one of the biggest bands, so I'm sure they've got something, you know, in the works.
Yeah, I mean their manager Cory Brennan is incredible, and you know, has really turned that band into more than a band. He really has made it a brand, or at least, you know, played a part with them in making it a brand. But yeah, man, I don't know. You know, We Are Not Your Kind was fantastic, but the end so far was, oh my god, dude. I mean, I was just so not into it at all. I'm hoping that they, you know, can turn it around and figure things out, but I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think many people were fond of that album. I think I listened to it a few times, and it just didn't work for me. But yeah, I would like to see them turn it around. Like we talked about in the last episode, they have some festivals coming up. Slowly, things will start to unfold. But getting into, well, before I go into that, I will say that on one of the old Slipknot DVDs, Jim Root did say that I think they did win a Grammy. This is like over 10 years ago, and like he used it as like a doorstop. You know, the actual award, he used it on a as a doorstop. So it's kind of funny to see them at the Grammys now, and people are commenting.
Was it All Hope Is Gone?
I don't remember. I just remember seeing it in the. I mean, it could. Yeah, it probably was. But yeah, I just remember them talking about like the Grammys, like they don't care, and maybe at the time they did show up too. But yeah, I mean, they were supposed to be like this band that didn't care, and I guess it was kind of funny to see them, you know, there in at the Grammys. I'm not saying they didn't go in the past, but it was just kind of ironic that they don't care yet they show up. But Jim Root wasn't one of them anyway. But
well, hang on before you move on. I did see, and I really did try to avoid most of the Grammy news. I mean, I honestly just I cannot stand it. But I saw that I believe Metallica won. And, you know, Metallica, of course, across all genres, I mean, one of the biggest bands in the world. And they still did not televise that portion of the show, which, I mean, you know, I don't want to get all Eddie Trunk here and, you know, oh, rock and metal is fucking whatever. But, I mean, it is ridiculous that, I mean, it's fucking Metallica, and they can't even include that on TV.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it's always been. That's kind of the way it probably always will be. And that doesn't just go for the Grammys. That goes for a lot of things where metal's just not important enough to be acknowledged. But I didn't even know that. Like I said, I don't keep up with the Grammys at all. I don't ever watch them. I don't really know how it works. But apparently there's also different, I don't know if it's different rooms or what. Like, I don't think they're in the same room as like the awards are done in the
Taylor
same.
Swift, yeah, no.
Right. I think they're done in different rooms, and one of them's televised or one of them's, you know, filmed and the other one's not, from my understanding. But I think it's always going to be that way.
No, for sure. I mean, but I get it for bands like Ghost. I remember when they won that Grammy, and you know, they show up, and I mean, Papa Emeritus is there, and the Nameless Schools or whatever. But you know, it's just like it's Metallica. You know, it's I mean, that's a household name. You know, but you know, even that band can't. They don't even have enough power to get on TV for the Grammys. It really is ridiculous. And I also, you know, I did a video when the nominees came out, and I mean, I did get a lot of hate, but you know, I just think the Grammys are trash, and the rock nominations and all that shit. I mean, half of them weren't even rock. You know what I mean? It's just, I do remember, I Disturbed, I think, was nominated for I think it was a metal, best metal song or whatever. And I remember saying, you know, they would be way better served in the rock category. I never considered Disturbed to be a metal band. And somebody was like, you don't consider Disturbed to be a metal band? Weird take, but okay. And it's like, dude, I mean, come on. You know, you're going to put them in the same boat as fucking, I don't, whatever. It's like saying, I love metal. Five Finger Death Punch is my favorite band.
Yeah, I think,
You know?
yeah, I think some things definitely get lumped together, but like you said, some things that aren't rock get categorized as rock. So who knows the, you know, the battle of the genres is something that's been going on for 20 years, you know, and it's going to continue to go on. Before we get out of here, you know, I appreciate anybody that's listening. And as I said before, you can find everything on all streaming platforms as well as video versions. But, you know, Logan, I wanted to see what you got going on with the Logan Show as far as what interviews you have coming out, videos coming out, or anything that you want to plug.
Sure. Yeah, I just put out just today, the day that we're filming this, just put out an episode with Brian Tatler that I filmed this morning from Diamond Head and Saxon. And I will say, I mean, I got to say, it really was a great chat. We're checking out. There's a huge Diamond Head Metallica connection. Everybody's, you know, knows that the whole Big Four thing, and they did Am I Evil, all four bands together, which is a Diamond Head song, but it actually goes quite a bit deeper than that. We get into that. And the other interesting thing that we were discussing was that Diamond Head actually opened up for AC/DC on what was Bon Scott's last ever 2 shows just weeks before he died. You know, so those were 2 very important shows in rock history, really, the last ever shows of Bon Scott. So we talk about that and you know, how we joined Saxon recently and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's out now. Check that out. And, you know, more interviews coming. I don't really like to say what guests are necessarily scheduled in case somebody cancels and I look like a jackass. But, yeah, you know, more coming. I really need to, we've been so busy. We did this last week. We're doing it now. I've been doing so many interviews. You know, I really need to do some more, do another regular video soon. I mean, that's sort of the bread and butter of the channel. I mean, that's what really grew it is you know, the stuff on my own. So I need to do that. I definitely was trying to do a Static X video with that new record that came out. It's something I want to do. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I needed to do the same thing. You know, like you said, there's been so much focus on this podcast, and there's always technical difficulties in editing these things, and it takes some time, you know, to get out. So, as I've said before, I do appreciate anybody who's listening to, you know, listening to this. I do appreciate you guys listening, and at the same time, I do want people to maybe comment, leave a review on, and tell us what you want to hear, so we can cover it in this show, because we can talk about topics all day long. But if there's something that you want to know, we can probably cover it. It's something that we've had experience with, but yeah, just we're here to answer questions or discuss anything anybody else wants to hear about. But as Logan was saying, he has his own channel. He has a separate podcast channel, interview channel, and as well as a main channel called The Logan Show. I have the website takemeontour.com, where you can find everything that's going on with the podcast, as well as socials or anything else. There's photos on there. You can contact us. Also, for both of us, you can find all the socials and everything you need linked in the description of these videos. So that's pretty much it. Logan, you got anything else before we go?
No, that's it. You can check me out on social media at Real Logan Show. And I'm real glad that we were able to get another one knocked out. And I know you're about to leave. Well, not anytime soon, but another month and a half or so. And hopefully we'll be able to get another one out at least before you go. And yeah, man, I still can't believe we're actually doing this.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hyped because I don't know, I'm excited to actually put stuff out. It feels good to not just be thinking about, you know, what I could have said about the news or any current topics, and just seeing everybody else do it. So, you know, I appreciate your time and everyone else's time to listen, and you know, all of the good feedback that we received on the first episode. Just bear with us. We are still trying to figure things out as far as the schedule, you know, and as far as covering topics. And I know these things do get really lengthy, as I've said before. So, you know, the first one was 2 hours. This one, after I edit it, who knows? It's going to be at least an hour and a half. So give us some feedback. Let us know what you want to hear, and we will see you in the next one.